Just a couple of radial tire revolutions off of America's main streets, Route 66. It's the 2023 PDGA Masters Disc Golf World Championships from Flagstaff, Arizona. A PDGA Major featuring nearly 900 competitors. And we've got the MP40 division today. It's Grant Zellner along with the philosopher of disc golf, Philo Brathwaite.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grant Zellner. Moving day at the Masters World Championship. Michael Johansen and Cale Leiviska knotted up at 18 apiece. Joe Rovere, Josh Anthon close behind. Take a look at our top 10 through 2 rounds so far. Just shot well, rounding out the top 10.
Packed very tightly at the top, and we go back to Little America for the second time. Hole number 1, the hardest hole in round number 1 at 653 feet. This is a par 4 with an uphill finish.
Yeah, very protected green, obviously, up on that mogul hill, those 3 big pines embracing the basket. Saw a lot of guys having a hard time figuring out this drive round 1 and then getting close enough to the target to have a birdie putt. Michael Johansen letting one fly. Looks like he's a hair left out there in the fairway.
The shorter tee pad is there in the left gap. We've got Cale going right.
Didn't look like he got much progression out of that.
Joe Rovere airborne.
That doesn't help on a 650-foot par 4. Early tree for Joe Rovere. Our first look at Mr. Josh Anthon out of Northern California. Beautiful drive, setting himself up for a look into this green.
Joe Rovere now taking the middle gap.
That's a smart play there from Joe Rovere. Didn't want to bite off too much, really playing for position.
Once again, hole number 1 played as the most difficult hole on the course for round number 3.
Solid shot there from Cale Leiviska, setting himself up.
Michael Johansen into the open.
Yep, everybody's following suit. Josh Anthon, green light. That's a solid way to start your day right there for Josh Anthon. Gets up on top of that mogul on the crown. Got to look for birdie.
For Rovere. Pin high.
Michael Johansen caught a look at that. Followed that up nicely. Cale Leiviska, I imagine, didn't want to get too aggressive on that putt. Probably just as steep on the backside. Smart play there. Joe Rovere cashing that par. Looks about a circle's edge putt.
Right, you and Jay or me? It don't matter. If you're ready, you go for it. I'm not worried about it. All right.
That's the way to get things rolling right there for Josh Anthon, trailing these leaders by 3 strokes, grabbing an early birdie.
And with hole number 1 playing a half stroke above par, that's picking up a lot on the field as well.
We call that strokes on folks, buddy.
Hey, a new bingo card reference for me. Strokes on folks. Nearly half the field bogeyed hole number 1.
You can see why. That tee shot's very demanding. Obviously, the approach into the green just as challenging. Swing it on over to hole number 2, just 324 feet, wide open. Playing downhill across the water. Really got to feel this disc into the ground about circle's edge and play the ground play. Spikeiser can get away with these wins.
This is a very wind-exposed hole, by the way.
Absolutely, and that was an early release there from Josh Anthon, and he's going to find some of the very rare out of bounds here in Flagstaff.
Philo, I went up and I stood behind this tee pad and watched a couple of groups play through on the second, and it was pretty remarkable the impact the wind had on a lot of different discs that were out of the hand identical, and then you're just, sort of spinning the wheel of randomness to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it is kind of like that, playing an elevation with wind. You just really can't guarantee anything. Joe Rovere, Cale Leiviska staring down birdies. Michael Johansen outside to the drop zone here with Josh Anthon. Ooh, nearly rung that one up, didn't he?
Now Michael Joe safely over the water. Just a pitch up there for Michael.
First birdie putt of the day for Joe Rovere. Try to get on the board. Sends that one home nicely to the middle of the chains.
Joe Rovere putts with an extreme down angle on the nose of his disc. It's interesting to see that in comparison to a lot of other putters who putt with a nose up angle.
Especially coming out of a hyzer swing, out of that pendulum style swing. It's so unorthodox, if you will, to see a disc leaving nose down when you're swinging up with your hand. I agree with you, Grant. Josh Anthon safely in for bogey. Cale Leiviska, no issue with that birdie putt. Outright leader for the moment.
Cale Leiviska deuces to the crowd, blows off the disc, as he usually does. And we're now above the pond at hole number 3, 316-foot par 3, playing uphill.
Fair shot here for the guys. Really about that shape off the tee, a little bit of bend from left to center. Just try to hang on to that angle.
And it begs repeating, Philo. You'll see these players in many instances putting what looks like a lot more of a move on the disc relative to the footage of the hole. This is just 316 feet. These guys can throw putters that far pretty effortlessly, but the conditions,
exactly,
the conditions, the wind, the low ceiling, the thinner air, all of that, and having followed this group somewhat yesterday, these guys are putting heavy moves on discs for 300-foot shots.
Yeah, this is really shot shaping and just knowledge of disc in general. Josh Anthon recovering from that bogey just a moment ago. The beautiful drive. There's gravity for you. Michael Joe expecting that to hook up a bit faster. Sails away. Wow, what a putt for par to clean that up.
That's the difference between the amateurs and the pros, that fearlessness about the comebacker.
Yeah, I heard a guy called Paul Macbeth talk about that. I'll miss the first one, but I'm not missing the second. It's kind of got to be the mantra in your head when you're out there on the putting green.
Cale Leiviska going all the way through that routine with the exaggerated upward thrust of his hand. He looks like he's aiming at the top of the flag.
It does, doesn't he? There you go. Joe Rovere swings up, nose down, buries it into the cage. Chains, rather. Grabbing himself another birdie, and Josh Anthon. Easy work there.
Imagine, your favorite disc is unreachable. How will you recover? Have no fear. Introducing the ARM Augmented Reaching Mechanism. Providing players with over 21 feet of reach, users will face no challenge retrieving trapped discs in nearly any scenario. For further flexibility, the ARM comes with 2 grabbing devices, the pivotable rectangle and the double claw. Go to your local retailer and ask for the ARM today.
Hole number 4, a 643-foot par 4. That's a pretty common circumstance here at Little America Long, the sub 650-foot par 4.
Yeah, but it's got some teeth to it. You know, you've got to get up and over that crest, and then you've got that super dangerous green with that slope lurking just past the bucket. Really requires a lot of touch and accuracy, and you're throwing down the hill on a cross hill, and those are just a lot of big asks. It doesn't matter how long the hole is.
Did you say big asks?
Yes, sir. It's, you know, you're asking for a lot to be super close to the basket.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I got the enunciation on that.
Yeah.
Josh Anthon. Josh Anthon doing something that you can do here at Little America. You can go for distance, not worry too much about the finish because you're biting off distance, and then you'll worry about the angle and the approach into the basket.
Long carry to the green here for Cale Leiviska.
Oh, boy.
Big flex, needs just to hustle back. Oh, that was a good tree kick there. Kept him up on top. Looked like that was heading into dangerous places.
Michael Johansen now keeping this one a little lower.
That looks like it had the right shape. Oh, no, out of bounds for Michael Joe.
We found another OB.
Didn't even realize there was OB way out there. Joe Rovere playing sidearm into the green. I like the idea, but unfortunate catching one of those late trees. Josh Anthon's got this one all lined up in his crosshairs, and he's going to drill that deep into circle one. Love it.
As I said, you can get away with sort of a bomb and gouge style of play here. You can opt for distance over accuracy, get yourself a slightly shorter but maybe more unpredictable approach. It's a strategy, and Josh Anthon's using it thus far.
Yeah, big difference from what we saw at Thorpe. Not a lot of room to deviate from the fairway out there, especially with all that shrubbage and rough. Solid bang there for Michael Joe to salvage bogey. Definitely want to try to keep that bogey count to a minimal. That was his first bogey of the whole event.
Oh, wow.
Johansen played clean through 36 holes. Clean 10 under first round, clean 8 under second round. Here we are, first third of round number 3, collecting his first bogey of the event.
We can't have more than a handful of bogeys across the entire foursome for the championship.
It's pretty close to that number. Michael Joe had 0, Cale Leiviska 1 bogey through 36 holes. Joe Rovere had a couple. Josh Anthon also finding himself a couple bogeys in his first couple of rounds. But he did make up for it with that awesome eagle. Well, we'll see, I believe.
Hole number 5 played to a stroke average of almost exactly par in round number 1. That'll do. Cale Leiviska outside circle.
Well, that's a route we haven't seen yet. Joe Rovere playing for a big flex and catching a lot of those ninja branches up in the ceiling.
This feels like a MJ hole to me.
Absolutely. MJ licking his chops on this drive, and he's going to bump and grind that one shallow circle too. Joe Rovere trying to find some magic from out in the fairway. Not to be this time. Dr. Smooth just comes up a touch short on that bid. Josh Anthon continuing to chase these leaders down. Everything but in for Josh Anthon. Band, chains, and dribbles out. Michael Joe also coming up empty-handed here at the 5th. Imagine we got ourselves a star par frame.
True to form, the fifth playing to just about level par. Matter of fact, the fifth here on day number 3, player's second loop around played to the exact same par average as day number 1, right down to the decimal point.
That is incredible. You hardly ever hear about that. Usually as the round progresses, guys start to figure some things out, make some adjustments. Usually start seeing some of the more difficult holes starting to get nabbed up with some birdies. Here we are, hole number 6. 659-foot par 4. Josh Anthon still has the honors.
Not bad.
Another
Indeed.
solid drive.
He said not bad. We don't need to do commentary. He's got it for us, Philo.
Up and away for Cale Leiviska. Maybe a little bit of a blown angle there. He's still got a good forward push, so it shouldn't hurt him too much. I imagine that's in a similar location to where Cale Leiviska ended up.
It's just fine over there. MJ now.
Oh, that was looking so pure. Catching that right side definer.
Pretty much takes birdie out of play for MJ.
Yeah, you see how long that basket is in the background. Makes up some good distance there. Maybe an outside look at a long 3. Cale Leiviska trying to swing this in from the right side. Go, a bump and grind there.
Look up. There we go. Sit.
Josh Anthon, more than enough power to get past the target. Maybe even into shallow circle 2. Joe Rovere, that looks like that had a nice finish. Action towards the basket on the end.
Michael Joe now needs to get up and down for par.
Those ground rocks, man, they're so brutal, just killing the speed for the finish.
It bears repeating, the conditions immediately on the ground here at Little America are rougher than at the other course. The rocks here that are amongst all that scrub grass, you don't see all of them on camera. They are there. They're waiting to jump out and bite you on the ankle, or worse, turn the ankle, and they're everywhere.
As we've talked about that, Josh Anthon buries birdie from circle 2. He's starting to make up ground. Nice matching birdie there from Joe Rovere. Now look at that flag, Grant. Not surprised to see Michael Joe taking his time, putting down in his umbrella, maybe get a little different wind direction. Maybe it'll calm down a second. Take advantage of that full 30 seconds.
And still.
Unfortunate there for Michael Johansen. Going to slide back to +2 on the round. Heading the wrong direction for Michael Joe, but he's a grinder. I imagine he will bounce back. Cale Leiviska safely in for his par.
Why disc golf?
It's the people.
It's fun.
It's the lucky shots.
It's the feeling.
So come out.
Grab a disc.
Or 2, and let it fly with Lone Star Disc.
When you first sign up for a PDGA membership, you're given a PDGA number. Your PDGA number is a stamp for when you got involved in the sport. It's a badge of pride for players and a part of your disc golf identity. Get your number today. Visit pdga.com/join.
To the 7th, 364 feet, this par 3 plays a little bit up and over a rise here on the Little America property.
Again, one of these holes that finished to the right for the competitors. We saw a bunch of shots that finished to the left at Thorpe. Here at Little America, a lot of things kind of taper off to the right at the end. Josh Anthon finds a sneaky line down the right side, and look at that thing curl up right on circle's edge.
Cale Leiviska now,
That's
the more
Joe
traditional
Rovere.
route.
That's Joe.
Oh, that was Joe, wasn't it?
It was.
My apologies.
All good. Parked up there. No putt required.
This would
Now
be...
Cale Leiviska.
There we go. I'll be Grant, you be Philo.
Let's try to keep that flow going.
Yeah, here we go.
Looks like a solid play there from Cale. Gives himself a look at a birdie putt. Now Michael Joe really needs to turn the tide here. Carding some birdies early on here this round. Got to get the birdie train going. This is leaking off to the left in a big hurry for Michael Johansen. Another long birdie putt coming up.
Wind down, though, for the moment. Oh,
That was so close for Michael Johansen. Just barely dodging the chains on the right side.
needs a spark. Circle 2 putts are going to be difficult to come by today.
Yeah, the wind, the elevation. These guys are up some 2,000 feet from where they are over at Thorpe. Definitely going to affect, and there it is again. Put the disc up there. It doesn't want to drop. Opportunity missed there. Can he salvage for par? Josh Anthon, job done. Par for Mr. Leiviska as well. Was for the moment outright leader Joe Rovere, 21 under par for the event so far. Hole number 8, par 4, 648 feet. Another one of those up and over a hill, back down the grade. Very defined fairway here to play with. I do see a couple of extra angles out there, maybe playing a little wide. Very fair green. Gotta like that for this field.
Players entering a very scoreable stretch here of the course. 8, 9, and then 11, 12, 13, all amongst the easiest 5 or 6 holes on the course.
Joe Rovere just made life a little hard for himself here on the par 4, catching first available through the gap. Josh Anthon makes the correction, and look at that big flare skip well into the fairway. Cale Leiviska, can he match? No, nip tucks that tree that Joe Rovere clobbered. Got some nice forward push off of that.
This one's turning.
Yes, sir. Michael Joe got a hold of that one. Does come up a bit short of the longest drive of the group. Joe Rovere, can he recover? What a solid shot there from Joe Rovere.
Cale able to look down upon the basket.
There you go.
Michael Joe caught a tree there, I think. Might have been what chopped that disc down. Oh, and another one.
Rough going for Michael Johansen so far on the front 9. Still plenty of birdies to be had as we get ready to make the turn on the backside. Wisely just going to lay that up for a par. Doesn't want to take on any more water.
Joe for birdie. Oh, just that far away.
Everything but in. Bunch of chains off the rim. Caught some nub and pulled it back. Cale Leiviska to knot things up at 21 apiece with Joe Rovere. Count that. Dr. Smooth. Continuing to play strong and consistent throughout this event.
Have I been under respecting Cale by occasionally referencing him as Mr. Smooth? Did he
Mr. Smooth, Dr. Smooth, I think it all plays.
Is there an advanced degree in there that I don't know about?
Potentially. You know, I got the philosopher, doctorate going on for me. You know, you can give him the same.
200.
He's been around longer.
261 feet. It plays much longer than that here at the 9th.
These guys definitely want to get this one, though. Pretty fair shot. Nice little backstop there with those big boulders. Cale Leiviska in position. Joe Rovere now on the box. Playing the hyzer line, looking for some ground play, and maybe just shy of pin high.
Philo, if you recall, on day number 1, a lot of players were going into those rocks short of this basket. Today, most making the correction, trying to get up onto the same level as the basket.
Yeah, that's a smart play. Michael Johansen shows you exactly how to get it done there. Birdie for Cale Leiviska. Going to be a nice little bounce back, finishing up this front 9 for Michael Johansen with a birdie. Looks like everybody's right there in the neighborhood. Cale Leiviska was the furthest to putt and looked like he was about 20 feet away. Joe Rovere just squeaks that one over the rim.
Josh Anthon now.
Very solid front 9 for Josh Anthon, especially picking up that early bogey on hole 2, and that was a very careless bogey. Looked just not quite committed to that tee shot. Thing sailed away on him, but since then recovered so nicely.
Star frame. Good solid finish for our opening 9 of this round number 3. And Philo, as of this moment, our lead group is halfway through this 5-round championship. Quick look at the overall field there. They are not, by any stretch of the imagination, running away from the field. So the back 9, work to be done. Grant Zellner and Philo Brathwaite back with you with continuing coverage of round 3 from 2023 Masters Worlds.